What you're hearing right now is an entire fan base telling their own top scorer to get out. August 23rd, the Metropolitano. Julián Álvarez comes on in the 66th minute, and the whole stand boos him. Let him leave. Let him leave for good. At the final whistle, he walks straight down the tunnel, alone, while the rest of the team stays behind to thank the fans. And the strangest part of all? They're booing the best player they've got. So this video answers one simple question. Why does the present always end up feeling too small for some people? Why is having everything still not enough to make you value where you are? The sharpest answer that exists came from a German philosopher who diagnosed Julián Álvarez without ever once hearing his name. First, just how absurd this is. By 26, Julián has already won a World Cup, a Champions League, the Copa America, the Copa Libertadores, the Premier League, and the FA Cup. The first player in history to win the European treble and a World Cup in the same year. And it's not like he's slumping. Last season, he was Atletico's top scorer, 20 goals, 10 of them in the Champions League alone, a club record. This is the guy who looked at all of that and decided it still wasn't enough. And this is where the story turns. Arthur Schopenhauer, born in 1788, probably the most pessimistic philosopher who ever lived. He described Julián's mind almost 2 centuries before it existed. His core idea is this. Deep down, every human being is driven by a blind force he called the will, a wanting that never switches off. And the problem with the will is that it's always born from a lack. You want because something's missing. While you don't have it, you suffer. So you tell yourself that the day you finally get it, the suffering ends. And that's the great illusion. Because when you finally win the thing, the relief lasts a few seconds, and then it's gone. The dream becomes your new normal, and where the desire used to be, something worse moves in. Boredom. That's how Schopenhauer summed up all of life in a single image. A pendulum swinging between the pain of not having and the boredom of having, never once stopping in the middle. That's why winning never brings peace. Winning just resets the clock until the next craving. And this is where Julian's career stops being about soccer and becomes Schopenhauer's pendulum, game by game. Look at this. He arrives at Manchester City, and in his very first full season, he wins everything. The World Cup with Argentina and the treble with City. The absolute peak. Every player's dream. And what happened to Julian up there on top of the world? He got bored. Because at City he was a supporting act, stuck behind Holland. So he packed his bags and walked away from one of the best teams on the planet to chase, in his own words, a new challenge. He went to Atletico and became exactly what he wanted to be. The main man, the star, the top scorer, a Champions League record breaker. He got it. And then, again, the exact moment he got it, boredom. Atletico became not enough. And the next craving showed up. Barcelona. See the pendulum? World Cup, boredom. The treble, boredom. Being Atletico's star, boredom. Every time Julian reaches the summit shrinks in his hands, and he's already staring at the next mountain. He isn't insatiable every once in a while. Insatiable is the structure of his entire life. And here's the twist most people miss. Julian's hunger isn't some flaw bolted onto him. It's the engine. It's exactly that wanting more, that never good enough, that dragged him out of a tiny town in the Argentine countryside and stacked up a World Cup, a Champions League, and a Libertadores before he'd even turned 25. His dissatisfaction didn't get in the way of his career. It built his career. But that's exactly where the trap is. Because this engine has no off switch. You can't run the hunger only when it's time to win and shut it off when it's time to enjoy what you won. It's the same hunger. The force that pushed Julian to the top is the same force that won't let him sit still up there for even a second. The very thing that made him a winner is the thing that condemns him to never feel like one. He can't let go of one without letting go of the other. That's why there's no such thing as arriving for Julián. The day he'd finally be content is the day he'd stop being who he is. Picture that scene again. A whole stadium chanting, "Let him leave for good." And Julian walking off the pitch, alone, straight down the tunnel. The fans think they're handing him the worst punishment there is, kicking him out of the club. But whether he stays or goes, it lands in the same place. If he stays, he'll stew on the bench, feeling like the place got too small for him. If he leaves, he'll lift another trophy and, a few months later, feel all over again that it's just not enough. Barcelona won't fix it. No place will. Because Julian can't transfer away from the one thing that's actually bothering him, himself. So now I want to hear from you. Is this ambition or is it ingratitude? Drop it in the comments. And if this is the kind of soccer you're into, the story behind the game, hit subscribe because there's plenty more where this came from.